Hi, I'm Evan Bent, Miami Herald food editor and proud craft beer nerd. And today we're talking with two important dudes from the Miami beer community, Louis Brignoni, founder of Miami's first craft brewery, Wynwood Brewing Company, and Jacob Anaya, executive chef of OTC restaurant in Brickell. We're also drinking. My craft beer pick of the week is Brooklyn Summer Ale, which we'll get to in just a moment. First, let's meet our guests. At age 28, Louis Brignoni followed a dream to open his own brewery. He did it in Miami's burgeoning Wynwood Arts District. His small batch Wynwood Brewing Company produces flavorful ales like the Malty Pops Porter and the hoppy Wynwood IPA. Brignoni's beers are available at more than 100 bars and restaurants across South Florida and at Wynwood's Ode Tap Room at 565 Northwest 24th Street. Louis, thanks a lot for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to see you. So, Miami craft beer, it's still kind of new. Why don't you describe it for us? What is craft beer?
Craft beer, as defined by the Brewers Association, is three things. Independent, right? So we're a wholly owned, family and operated business. It's just me, my pops, and my brother. Hence
Pops Porter?
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, it's named after my pops. So independent, traditional. So we use traditional ingredients. We use the four main ingredients in our beer, so malt, hop, yeast, and water.
Cool.
And then production level. So we're under 6 million barrels, which is like the limit. So we're considered a craft brewer.
You're way under 6 million, right?
Way under.
How many barrels did you do in your first 8 months of being open?
So far, we've done about 900.
Okay.
900 barrels. So
you're small, but you have a good footprint so far. And I imagine since craft beer is so new, I imagine a big part of your responsibility is educating your consumers. So how do you do that when someone comes into your tap room, maybe not really knowing what to expect?
That's right. So one of the things our beer tenders do really well is educating our folks with beer tenders. That's right. They educate our folks. We recommend always a flight, so they can have 4 or 5 ounce pours of our different beers. They will then describe the different styles and what makes each beer different. Another thing that we're doing out in the community is pairing with Chef Anaya, and we're doing beer dinners, which I'm sure he's going to talk about a little bit later.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What about someone that wants a Bud or Bud Light? What do you do then?
That's a good question.
Well, we do not do lagers year-round. We do ales. But we do have La Rubia, which is a lot better than any of those beers. It's lighter in body, but it still packs good flavor, so that's actually our #1 beer, and we're pretty proud of her.
Awesome.
And any new beers coming down the pipe that we should know about?
Well, we're planning a big bottle release. We did a barrel-aged wheat wine in Petite Syrah barrels, and we have a Pilsner. Actually, we're doing a lager for the first time, so we're excited.
Very cool.
A lager for the first time. So lagers, ales. What's the
difference?
What's the difference?
All right, the difference is the fermentation. Basically, you have 2 different types of yeast. You have your ale yeast or lager yeast, and it's based on temperature and how they react. Ales are usually fermented at mid-60s, sometimes as high as 70s or even 80s for Belgian saisons, and the lagers ferment usually around 55 degrees, and they take a longer time to ferment.
What's the time on the fermentation?
Actually, that's a great question. That's another one. So the ales yeast could take 2 weeks to finish, and you're done. A lager could take 45 days to 2 months.
Wow. Lager actually comes from the German word meaning to store, right?
Right.
So, all right.
To age, yeah.
Just dropping knowledge. We're going to turn, Louis, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah.
We're going to turn now to this other guy. Jacob Anaya is the head chef at OTC Restaurant. He joined OTC the same month that Louis opened Wynwood Brewing Company. Coincidence? I don't think so. At OTC, down at 1250 South Miami Avenue, Chef Anaya's beer-friendly cuisine shows influences from his cooking in Hawaii and in New Mexico. Besides having an exceptional craft beer list and hosting frequent beer dinners, OTC showcases beer in Anaya's food. He marinates chicken thighs in Wynwood IPA, and he pours brew into the batter of his fish and chips. Chef, thanks so much for joining us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's been very nice to be here.
So we're just coming off American Craft Beer Week, which I know was really busy. You had a bunch of events. What were some highlights for you?
Very much so. We had basically 3 different events. We did a wine dinner with Wynwood Brewing Company, did basically a pairing all through it, and kind of allowed me to be really flexible with off-the-menu dishes and kind of allow our guests to come in and really experience the beer and the food that we did with it.
Yeah, something I love about OTC is that you guys give suggestions for beers to pair with different dishes that you serve.
Correct.
What's your beer and food pairing philosophy?
For me, it's very flexible. It allows me to really talk to the guests, say, okay, well, what are you into? What are your flavor profiles? And I can kind of say, okay, well, an IPA is going to go really good with this. A saison is going to go really nice with the pokey, or even with our Frito Pie. That's a very traditional New Mexican style dish.
Tell us about that Frito Pie and what beer goes with that.
Well, the Frito Pie, it's spicy. It has a big cheese influence on there, and then you get the nice crunch factor from obviously the Frito chips. My choice I've done in the past, I've done the Saison and also done an IPA. It's done really nice with both of those.
And I know you're really committed to focusing on local breweries, a lot of Florida and regional
Correct.
breweries. You always have something from Wynwood on tap.
Without a doubt.
Right.
What's your favorite brew to pour from them?
You're in the spotlight now, man.
What do we have? What do we have when
You guys
we did?
have a La Rubia most of
Rubia.
the time, but I know they also rotate. So.
Yeah, the Rubia is probably the favorite one, and then we had the what did we do with the beer there and the chocolate?
Right, we did a coffee porter.
Coffee porter, that was amazing. It was delicious.
We did a coffee porter. We did the Magic City Pale Ale with dry hopped. We did a special for that as well. So.
Very much so. I mean, it was amazing, and I mean, we're very lucky to be part of this whole Florida brew I think frenzy that's happening right now, and it's very good for us. And obviously, being in support of Wynwood is a really nice thing to have also.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you guys both for joining us. Now I think we should drink. And now for the tasting part of the show. Each week on Miami.com and in Thursday's Miami Herald food section, you can find my craft beer pick of the week. This week it's Brooklyn Summer Ale, a 5% by alcohol by volume, easy drinking, English-style pale ale from Brooklyn Brewery in Brooklyn, New York, which I think goes really great with Chef Jacob's tuna poke at OTC restaurant. Fellas, what do you think?
Well, no, let's try it out and
All
see
right.
what we think.
Should have brought some poke.
Lewis, how do you taste beer?
Well, very similar to wine. You definitely want to get the aroma, so definitely you want to open her up, get all the aromas out of there, whether you get the sweetness from the malt or you get the hop characteristics out of it. On this one, you definitely get a little bit of both, so it's nice balanced. I do get some sweetness from the malt though.
This style of beer, what is it? What's the characteristics? What do you find in this style?
Well, it's a paleo, so it's definitely lighter to medium body. Hop characters are slight, not definitely overpowering, as opposed to an American pale ale where you definitely get a little bit more bitterness and you get some of that hop aroma. This one definitely I get a little bit more malt sweetness, but it has a really nice dry finish.
Definitely,
in my opinion.
And with the poke, it would be amazing.
Why?
It's spicy in a sense. That's at least what I get, and it'll really flavor profile with the poke and the fattiness of the tuna, the sesame seed oil. And the ogo go really nice with this. It's kind of like a nice, well-balanced fat that will break it.
Yeah, I get a little sense of lemoniness in this, and I think that would go great with raw tuna,
so.
any raw fish. So it's a good beer. You can find Brooklyn Summer Ale at Publix for about $8 for a 6-pack. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming to Brew in Miami, and until next time, cheers.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.